My name is Eli's dad, and I'll be your server today. Would you like to see the Heart Healthy menu? Hello again, everybody. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. Today, we're going to talk about serving and how it relates to your purpose and how it relates to having a heart-healthy existence. I'd like to invite you once again to join Eli and me as we talk about heart-healthy, purpose, and serving. You know, one of the misconceptions that many people have, I among them, is that when you have a purpose in life, now before we get to the misconception, let's talk about something important. You have to have a purpose. You have to have a singleness of purpose. You have to have a goal, an objective, a magnificent obsession, a burning desire. Let's make that clear. That is critical, all right? If you want to be an achiever, you have to have a purpose. Now, let's talk about that purpose. The purpose does not have to be your creation. You can latch on to somebody else's purpose, embrace it, and make it your own. Some good examples of that through history are obviously Dr. Martin Luther King, the American Revolution. I mean, we can go on and on and on, even down to like sports teams where you have a team that, you know, you have a particular vision for a sports team and they take that vision, they carry it, they move it forward. And you can have more than one purpose. You know, I mean, stop and think about, you know, reflect on your life and what are the lasting memories that you hold dear. Let me give you a few examples. And once again, we're talking about purpose here. Now, I am not somebody that was really super excited about changing your diaper, Eli. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody that says, oh boy, I get to change a diaper. However, the purpose behind changing a diaper, getting closer to your child, taking care of your child, wanting your child to be better than you are. Not that I need somebody to change my diapers, at least not yet, Eli. When that time comes, I will certainly let you know. But right now, I'm still good that way. But my point is, when you are a dad or a mom, you want the best for your child. That's your purpose. And it's not, and it's kind of selfless and selfish at the same time. Because when you want something for somebody else and they achieve it, it really affects the way you feel in here, in your heart. And that's both literally and figuratively. There have been studies showing that when people do something for somebody else, they're healthier. And of course, when people talk about having heart, they talk about not the physical heart, but they talk about the caring aspect of being a human being. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about heart here. So you feel tremendously good. I mean, once again, think about the memories that you have. We talked about changing a diaper. One of the things that was very important for me was sending you to this camp that I love so much that I go back to every year. And I know I told you about it, and I knew that you would just have a great time there and get back to nature, and I wanted you to have that experience. Now, I'm talking about you, Eli, but I'm sure everybody out there that's ever been a parent or has ever had a friend, when you have somebody, when you do something and you know that it's fulfilling for the other person, it feels good right there. It's like watching, you know, you taking the winning shot. You know, when I was a puppy, you know, playing Little League Baseball, my mom was in unbelievably bad health. She never missed a game that I played in baseball. She had to get out of the house. She had to be carried to the stand, so to speak. And she sat there, and she would sit there for the entire game. There's a feeling that you get from giving, from serving. That's what we're talking about, from being a server. Now, the same thing happens to be true as a mentor. I've had a number of people that I've developed into management positions, I'm glad to say, and I've lost touch with some of them, but there's one or two particular people that I keep in contact with, and whenever I talk with them, I can hear the respect in their voice when they're talking to me and say, oh, I remember when you did this, and I remember when you taught me that. And I've even had one say, you know, you're forgetting one of the things that you taught me. The other thing is, when you hear me talk about my number one mentor, a gentleman named Bob Anderson, he was not the most personable human being on the planet, but there's a very, very soft spot that I have in my heart for him. He taught me so many different things, and he wasn't, you know, a super personable person. I mean, it's like when you go to the doctor, and the doctor is like all business and doesn't have a particular good bedside manner, but if the doctor can perform the surgery, isn't that the most important thing? It is. So Bob Anderson was kind of that way, not a particularly personable guy, but he was somebody that showed that he cared by tough love. So once again, we're talking about purpose, we're talking about service. You are built to serve. You're built to be a server. Keep that in mind. That's what makes it tick for you. Now, some of the difficulties that people run into, if you've been a leader in some aspect or another. Now, I ran an organization that had multiple offices, that had, I don't know, 75, 80 people underneath me, where I was, quote unquote, the boss, so to speak. I never thought of myself that way, because boss spelled backwards is double S-O-B. However, I digress. But I thought of myself as the leader, as the mentor, and then I had sort of a financial tumble, and I had to start all over again. Once again, in life, those types of things happen. So I started at the bottom of an organization and worked my way up. And as you're climbing up the ladder again for the second time, you start to look at things not as a puppy just starting out and learning. Yeah, you're learning different things, you're learning different things about people, but at the same time, your lens is always focused as a leader. And you're always saying to yourself, you know, if I was running things, I would do it like this, or I would do it like that. And you know what? You just can't help it, because once you've been a leader of an organization of people, that is your mindset. Now, by the same token, if you've never been a leader, and there's a gentleman that I worked with that was kind of thrust into the position of a little bit of a leader, but he was middle. He wasn't like up here, he was like at the first rung, okay? There was the bottom level, and then he was the first rung above that, and there were 2 or 3 rungs above him. Every time he would give a directive, his directive would be, well, if you don't do that, the higher-ups are going to do this. He could never think of himself as a leader. He always came from the position of being a follower. Keep that in mind about some people also, Eli. And when people embrace that mindset, that is a recipe for potential disaster. Because what they're looking for in their position is not to make a mistake, instead of looking to advance the cause. So keep that in mind about people that have never really been leaders, and they're there. And the other thing, of course, is that the major function of a leader is to serve the followers. The people that taught me leadership always said, I'm here to serve your needs. I'm here to help you get better. When you get better, the organization gets better, and we all profit from it. There are too many leaders out there that are looking for the perks and the privileges and so on and so forth because they've reached the leadership position. This is the wrong way to be a leader. Remember, as a leader, you are there to serve, not to be served. Now, what happens when you embrace that follower's mindset as far as serving is concerned, where you are there to not make mistakes, I don't want to cause any waves, you start to embrace the habit of making excuses. That's not my fault, I didn't do that, that was him. It starts to have a finger-pointing community. And a finger-pointing community can grow and grow and grow and be very, very toxic to the organization. So as a leader, you need to remember that sometimes you are serving the people that you're developing into leadership best by giving them the opportunity to make mistakes, and let them make them as long as they're not huge. Let them make mistakes and be the authority to do that. How did you learn? Nothing is a straight line of success. Everything has ups and downs to it. You're going to make mistakes. A really good leader allows people to make small mistakes and have them learn from them. That's not something that you hear people tell you in school, in leadership school, all right? It's something that you learn on the job. I want to kind of close with one of the people that I've kind of adopted as a mentor. I've never met him in person, but he's somebody that I admire greatly. A gentleman named Sinek, who's written many, many books on leadership that just really tell it like it is. And having gone through the leadership cycle, when he points these things out, it's sort of an aha moment for me all the time. As a matter of fact, what inspired this was I saw him speaking and I heard him say, you know, you don't have to have your own purpose per se. I mean, not everybody is Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Bill Gates. Not everybody has that tremendously great idea. And most of the time when people do become those guys, they started off by having smaller purposes that they were able to embrace from other people, sort of a creator in training. So, but anyway, this is how I got on this particular topic. And one of the things that he says about leadership that is critical to understand, and this is really one of the ways that you can tell a good leader from a superior leader. And I'm going to quote him here. Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting what they want. What a good leader does, and once again I'm quoting Sinek here, what a good leader does is a good leader is constantly asking the question, not what are my restrictions, but rather, how can I overcome? How can I get that done? What ways can I have to look at this from a different direction that's going to enable me to get this done? And a lot of times people in leadership positions say, oh, well, our charter says you can't do this, and the board says you can't do that. Understand that if you want to have something that is a great stride for the greater good, what the first sign of a great leader is how to overcome those types of obstacles. And when you do that, you're working with one of the things that Neil Armstrong meant to say when he took his first step on the moon, which was one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And what he meant to say was one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Our quote for the day has to do with the virtue of serving. And it comes from Anne Frank, from the book The Diary of Anne Frank. And I quote, "No one has ever become poor by giving, unquote. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's remember to go out there and serve and to charge. I'm Eli's dad.